back to After Nightfall for its second episode. I'm your host, Daniel. Stay tuned after my movie review to see an interview I videotaped. Tonight I will be reviewing the 1980s horror movie Friday the 13th. Of course, I will be going over acting, story, special effects, makeup and wardrobe, as well as the soundtrack. So, if you have any questions, comments, leave them down below. Your opinion is yours, remember? I can tell you watch a movie, doesn't matter, watch it. As far as acting goes, I didn't even know Johnny Depp was in this movie. Of course he wasn't, Kevin Bacon was. And in this movie, Kevin Bacon's acting gave me tremors. Yeah, a Kevin Bacon joke, I went there. But acting wasn't really that bad. I couldn't see really, there was some over the top stuff when the body went through the window and she just, I guess, lost it in a way. She just kept screaming and crying out, and I think she overacted a bit with that, but of course that's my opinion. I didn't write the movie. That could be just there for its effect. I'm just trying to put out what I thought. As far as wardrobe and makeup, wardrobe didn't really bother me that much. You couldn't tell it was an 80s movie, aside from how it was shot. The wardrobe didn't take away from it or didn't add to it. And then the special effects, you really didn't have a lot of, well, not special effects, the makeup, you wouldn't have a lot of makeup up until where you see Jason come out of the water, and you really don't see him too well either. You just see part of him. So whatever makeup that they did on him was really all that you saw. So you didn't really get it really up close on him of that. So I mean, from what I could tell, it was done well, but I wasn't looking for him exactly to be that well made up. Of course, it was the end of the movie. The soundtrack itself, it didn't sound really like the 80s. There wasn't, to me, a lot of music that made it the 80s, but the soundtrack itself did keep that horror aspect in there with a lot of like the sound effects that they added in there, and then just the general feel of the soundtrack made it sound entirely like a horror movie to me. You could tell that it was a horror movie, and that was all that I needed. Other than that, I didn't have much problems with the soundtrack. I probably could have had more 80s music in there to give you more of a feel of the 80s, since it was in 1980, according to present day that it said. But other than that, yeah, it was overall pretty decent. As far as special effects go, there was what seemed to be some camera problems to me, but I'm not sure if that just was how the camera was meant to be. But when there's a part where a character named Ralph leaves town on his bike, and it kind of fuzzes a little bit, like it blurs, and I don't think that was intentional. I think that happened accidentally, at least what it looks like to me, because any other time they did the camera like they should have, or what they were trying for, where the where the camera would move or disappear to the side. But I just think that part they actually messed up on. I haven't done enough research into that to check, but I think they did. As far as lighting, I think that when they were in the camp itself and most of the lights were out, I know they were only going with the flashlight, but I could hardly tell what was going on even when they had the flashlight, because I think they darkened it way too much. I think there should have been more light in certain spots, because you can still have light in a movie and still be scary. I mean, you watch all these other TV shows and movies that have multitudes of lights, and you still get that fear effect in there. But to me, I think they made some parts a little too dark as far as lighting. I mean, with the lighting how it was, I almost felt like a Hollow Man. Of course, that's another Kevin Bacon joke, terrible one at that. I should have thought more of that one. The blood when Kevin Bacon was stabbed in the throat, I think it was too dark to me, but it could have been the lighting that threw that off, so I'm just throwing that out there. But again, my opinion, so you don't have to listen to it. But feel free to watch the video all you want. more views for me, better. As far as the story, it's about a woman taking revenge on counselors for a past occurrence where her son died because counselors weren't paying attention. So she kills off these counselors in present day, which is 21 years after the drowning of her son. And then I got really confused at the end when you do see her son, is if it's 21 years later, he's still a kid, and yet in the later movies he's an adult. I don't understand. I haven't watched further on yet to see if they explain how he went from being a child to an adult, and 21 years have passed and they don't explain why he didn't age in that time, even though he's supposed to be dead. That confused me. I don't, unless if somebody can clarify that for me, feel free to shoot me a message, leave me a comment, let me know what you feel is your theory if there's not any factual proof. I'll be happy to read it. As far as your cliche horror movies, yeah, the power went out and then everybody splits up, or they do their own thing. You know, people start disappearing, they don't return. Why split up? You find a bloody axe, and then the power goes out, and Bill leaves Alice by herself instead of waking her up to go with him. So, you know, then he dies, of course, and she finds him later because he left her alone. And then also, I don't understand why Alice didn't just kill Mrs. Voorhees when she encountered her. Each different time, like when they fought, she basically would just knock her out and then run off. Like when she hits her the third time, or when she encounters her the third time, and she hits her with the skillet. I don't know why she just didn't beat her down until she couldn't move anymore. Or like somebody else suggested to me when I was talking to them, why not tie her up? Could have done that. It would have eliminated her as being a problem. She killed all your friends. She killed everybody in the camp, and yet all you're going to do is knock her out and then run off. I understand you probably don't want to kill anybody, but she's killed everybody that you know, and you're just basically being prey to her because she wants to kill you. You heard her be crazy. She was talking about her son saying kill her and all that stuff. Why not kill her? She's after you. She's not going to stop till you're dead. It's either kill her or you get killed. And of course she does kill her, but that's still, I don't even know why she left her alive. I mean, you find that axe, and I would have known there, you know, let's not split up anymore. You know, I would have stayed with Bill, or, you know, stayed with Alice, whoever, if I was one of the characters, instead of splitting up. Or, you know, lock everything down, she might know the camp like the back of her hand, but I still would have tried to at least stay away from her. As far as it goes, that is still a good movie. It's at least worth a watch to get your own opinion, see if it is controversial with mine. But that's all up to you. You don't have to watch the movie. I still think, as far as horror movies go, I mean, it was one of the stepping stones to horror movies. It began the whole Jason franchise, the Friday the 13th franchise. So I think it's still worth a watch, at least to see where it started. But as far as I know, that's what I've got on my movie review. Now stay tuned, as I'm going to show you my interview with Michelle Helmetzi of The Walking Dead. She was in a couple of seasons as a walker zombie. Met her. She's a very nice lady, as you will see in the interview. And my other interview is with Scott Mitchell, a contestant from Face Off. Both nice people. It was a pleasure meeting them during the Art of Fear event. Any questions, just leave comments below. Subscribe to me, of course. And here's my interview. Have fun.
Hi, my name is Michelle Helmetzi. I'm living out of I'm living
a shoebox.
In,
No. You're editing a lot of
I
this,
know,
right?
really. I hope so. I live in Atlanta, Georgia, little town south of Atlanta called Sonoy, and it's where The Walking Dead is being filmed. In the town of Woodbury is what they are calling it. And I'm here for the Art of Fear for their event.
And my name is Scott Mitchell. I'm a special effects makeup artist and educator from Chicago. I'm a freelance special effects artist and also work with Cozart Effects Studios. And my art of fear is special effects makeup. Scary kids.
So Michelle, what is it like working on a set with a lot of the cast, recurring cast?
It's actually a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. You get to interact with them whenever you're between sets and they come and talk to you. Otherwise, you're mostly talking with your fellow walkers and everything like that. It's interesting to see them act and to see how the scenes come about, and we have a blast doing it.
What's next for you, Scott?
Well, next I'm going to be working with Dragonfly Photography, creating a original character for a creepy clown photo shoot. I'm creating a character called Cuts the Clown, who before what he does is kills his victims and then makes them up as clowns and then removes the skin of their faces and wears them. Ooh, scary kids again.
That's freaky.
So what was the longest you were in special effects, Michelle?
My longest makeup application was 2 hours, and that actually was for a couple different scenes where we went in one morning at 10 o'clock. It took 2 hours to do the makeup, and then I ended up not going home until 7 o'clock the next day, 7 o'clock next morning. And that included the 2.5 hours of makeup removal.
What was your favorite monster to create, Scott?
Well, I would say my favorite monster to create recently was my Hellborn character, which was a demon that was comprised of a full cowl and face prosthetic application that I did for Mask Fest out in Indianapolis.
What was the most zombies you played in one episode, Michelle?
In one episode?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good question. Let's see. Well, I guess it would be first season, first episode. Well, I would say most scene as far as the episode goes, not different walkers. Because first episode, first season, I was running after Rick, chasing him on the horse. I was on the tank, and then I also ate the horse. So there was 3 different scenes that I was in one particular episode.
And how would you compare horse meat to regular hamburger?
Regular horse meat? That horse meat consisted of pork.
Okay.
It was amazing. It's like a tofurkey, or how to...
It was fake horse.
Yeah,
Yes, okay.
definitely.
What was the hardest thing you had to make, Scott?
The hardest thing we had to make was a Cyclops for a Floor and Decor commercial. And the reason why it was hard was because we had a short deadline in order to create this creature, and the molds that we had still retain moisture, which caused air pockets to form in the finished foam latex. So actually the night before we had to apply the Cyclops for the commercial, we had unfinished prosthetics, so we didn't have what we needed to create the character. So we had to use our problem solving in order to make on-the-fly prosthetics that we could apply to the character so that it would be ready for the call time for the photo shoot. And using techniques, a lot of them out of the kit techniques, we did succeed in creating the character and had him arrive on call time on time. And the director didn't know nothing about what we went through in order to get the character complete.
So he still was a Cyclops.
He was still a Cyclops.
He didn't have any eyes added.
No eyes added. Still a Cyclops. All the edges, we had to use regular liquid latex in order to make the facial piece, and it came out great.
Can I ask you, how did your person see out of that? Were they able to see?
Well, yeah, the actor was able to see because we engineered the prosthetic for him to see through the nostril holes.
Oh,
And
cool.
and that way he was able to see through the nostrils, and the eye was more in the forehead area.
Ah.
So yeah, we used a little special effects trick engineering in order to make that happen.
Cool.
You look forward to working with the Walking Dead cast again.
Oh, most definitely. I'm working on, they're doing season 5 right now, so I'm working on trying to get back on, but we are finishing in November, so I might actually have to wait until next season to get back on.
Would you ever want to do makeup for the Walking Dead?
I'd love to make a zombie. I haven't made a zombie. Well, I made a zombie in practice, but I haven't made a zombie for production yet. That would be very fun. So Michelle,
Hey!
let's hook up, huh?
Anything else you guys want to add or anything?
Well, I would like everybody to look forward to Heroic Age Studios. They're a studio that's coming to fruition in Central Illinois, and I think that's going to be a hot studio to look out for some great things to come out of. So keep your eyes open for that.
I ditto that.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.